Yeah. So this one is a PE owned e-commerce company. Actually, the company caught me. I was speaking at the CXO summit, and I came off the stage, and the CEO of this company like instantly cornered me. I was like, "Hey, I have this thing. I've been wanting to automate it for years. Sounds like you're the team to do it. Can we talk about it?" And he was really excited about it. The reason he was excited about it, so his business, there's one core piece of their back office operations here, which is matching from shopping lists back to their standard product taxonomy. And this process, he used to rely on BPO to do this for him. And there were a number of challenges that presented for the business. One, they just had a high degree of reliance on this offshore team. Like this offshore team had all this IP that kind of built up in their heads about how to do this process, and they were really relying on them. And if that went away, they would have to scramble and figure something else out. Two, the turnaround time for processing these things was very high. So, shopping list comes, they outsource it. It takes 24 plus hour turnaround time. User experience not great. And then the big one was cost. So this is a big line item for them. It was a significant portion of their company's annual expenses. And so they thought, okay, well, if we can build an AI system, maybe the AI system can be significantly cheaper. And so we tackled this project with them with kind of those goals in mind, cost being the main driver, but all these other ancillary benefits being possible. And ultimately, that ended up in a spot where the product experience improved. The accuracy of the AI system was higher than the BPO accuracy. The turnaround time was basically 30 seconds instead of 24 plus hours. So the user experience got better and the cost went down dramatically. I think the current system, the cost is almost all QA, and it's actually unnecessary. It's just they want to just overinvest in accuracy at this point. But the actual cost of the LLMs that are running is approaching zero at this point for this.
Wow. Can you walk us through how you prioritize which parts of this kind of process to automate first? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah. So the kind of order of operations of these projects is really important. So for this one, the task was you have this list, and then you want the output to be mapped to their standard product taxonomy. The steps involved in that automation, first you have go find the list. So there's a scraping exercise to be done. That scraping exercise is one that we excluded from phase one. We just said we're not going to tackle that. Scraping is actually a fairly hard task for LLMs today. It feels like it should be a solved problem, but it's harder than most people give it credit for. And so we just said we're going to exclude that. We're going to start at the point where you have the list, and that list can be in any form. It's a image, it's a PDF, it's some other format, it's a spreadsheet, and then we're going to go from that to mapped to standard product taxonomy and done accurately. So that was kind of phase one is just, or step one was like, all right, what do we exclude? What do we include? Once all right, this is the process we're automating end to end. So it's starting with that shopping list and then ending with the standard product taxonomy. The order of operations that you go about doing that automation matter a lot. In the project life cycle, the approach we try to take is you want to very quickly spin up an end-to-end working system. And when I say working, I don't mean high accuracy working. I mean just you can give it an image of a list and it'll spit out something in their standard product taxonomy. And then you want to put in place measurement so that you can say how accurate is this system doing. And those are it's called evals. So you want evals in place for this project. And once you have those two things in place, now you can just go into iteration mode for the rest of the project. So you use your evals to tell you where is the system performing well, where is it performing poorly. You then put your development work towards the areas that the system is performing poorly, and you move your performance on these evals higher and higher until you get to the point where you're comfortable saying, hey, this system's performing really well. Let's put it in production. And so the kind of order that you go in there matters a lot. If you're week 12 of that project and you're trying to then figure out how to measure the performance of it, then you've done 11 weeks of work without knowing how well the system's performing, except going based on vibes. So it's important to tackle that in the right way.
Once this was deployed, what was the reaction inside the client? And once they began to see sort of how efficient this was and the cost savings started to roll in, what was the reaction?
Yeah, positive. I mean, they're really excited with the output for a lot of reasons here. If you go back to kind of what got them excited in the first place, like all of the different ways this can impact their business and the level of control they can now have over their own IP here and really control their own destiny without relying on these expensive offshore teams, and have the cost savings. It's a win across the board for them.
Got it. And what did the sort of after state look like versus the before? You mentioned they were using a BPO. They had a bunch of people, and it was a huge line item on their P&L. Tell me a little bit about what the after state looked like relative to the before state.
Yeah. So the after state, I mean, one of the things that we strive for on a lot of these projects, like internal operation kind of projects, is you want, as much as possible, you want to build things that are task completers. So ChatGPT is a great tool for boosting my individual productivity as kind of a co-pilot for everything. But for something like this, you don't want a co-pilot assisting a human to tell it, hey, here's what I think the product taxonomy should be. You really, to get the most value out of it, you want it to just finish the task end to end. And so for this, for kind of change management purposes, you want to build a system that doesn't require extensive training, it doesn't require individual level change of behavior. You want it to just, the new default is, instead of that new list being routed to the offshore team, that new list goes through the new AI system and out comes the output. In this case, we also put an additional QA step at the end. So the output of the AI system here, it surfaces, here's the product taxonomy, or the list mapped to the standard product taxonomy. Also, here is a confidence score in that. And then you can use the confidence score to flag certain lists to QA. We also built on this one, so that QA team, can kind of go in and make changes where necessary. When the QA team does make changes, those changes get saved in a database. The system has access to that database. And because of that, it gets smarter over time automatically, which is kind of a cool add-on for this project.
And the cost save were what, percentage wise or dollar wise?
I believe it was 84% in year one. I think of that, of the remaining cost, 2/3 of it is QA. And that QA step is probably a 1 year thing, or that probably goes away in year two. And then of the remaining 1/3, we expect, as LLM costs decline, that probably goes down 90% on its own. So yeah, in essence, it's 84% cost reduction in year one, and going to 100, like approaching 100% in year two, probably. We're industry agnostic. Typical company size is 1,000 employees plus. We do some work with some companies that are smaller, though, as long as they have very high impact projects.
Amazing. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.